45, 50, but you still love it, enjoy it, 100% like you start that thing.
There was no press tour, no training camp teasers, no flashy gloves with country flags. Just a raw, 30-second video quietly dropped on social media. No caption, no hype. The only sound was gloves cracking through the air. And there he was, Manny Pacquiao, 46 years old, sharp, fast, and locked in like he'd never left the ring. The clip didn't ask for likes, didn't hint at a comeback, didn't mention an opponent. It didn't have to. When Manny looks like that, the entire boxing world takes notice, whether they're ready or not. Then came the silence, and it spoke louder than the punches. Fans flooded the comments, analysts broke down every frame, and former champions reacted with flame emojis and salutes like they were handing out medals. But one name kept surfacing: Canelo Alvarez. Not because Manny mentioned him, not because anyone tagged him, but because that clip of a 46-year-old legend training with fire made every top fighter take notice, especially boxing's biggest star. Canelo didn't respond, didn't post, didn't speak. But the mood in boxing shifted. In this sport, some of the strongest messages aren't shouted or shared, they're felt in silence. Canelo Alvarez isn't easily rattled. His entire career is defined by staying calm under pressure, letting his quiet confidence speak louder than any trash talk. His shrugged-off wild press conferences, bold call-outs, and online hype without flinching. But this was different. Pacquiao's training clip wasn't loud or flashy, and that's exactly why it hit so hard. It didn't beg for attention, but it demanded respect. Canelo has seen every style, every threat in the ring. But those 30 seconds weren't about legacy, they were about right now. Manny's speed, his sharp footwork, the snap in his punches, it didn't whisper nostalgia. It roared with hunger. And Canelo felt it.
Red, official weight 145, 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 50 victories, including 38 knockouts.
That's why, even in silence, it felt personal. Canelo is a fighter who lives in the gym, constantly pushing his limits, built on discipline and focus. Seeing Manny at 46 going that hard wasn't just impressive, it struck a chord. It made even the elite rethink what they're really chasing. Canelo didn't need to react. The boxing world did it for him. Suddenly, the conversation began. Was this simple respect, or something deeper? Maybe one era nodding to another. No statements, no quotes, just a short clip that spoke volumes and left the sport buzzing with questions.
Pacquiao in this fourth round, under a minute left. And there Pacquiao lands a combination.
That's why, even in silence, it felt personal. Canelo is a fighter who lives in the gym, constantly pushing his limits, built on discipline and focus. Seeing Manny at 46 going that hard wasn't just impressive, it struck a chord. It made even the elite rethink what they're really chasing. Canelo didn't need to react. The boxing world did it for him. Suddenly, the conversation began. Was this simple respect, or something deeper? Maybe one era nodding to another. No statements, no quotes, just a short clip that spoke volumes and left the sport buzzing with questions. There's something powerful about that kind of quiet. When a reigning champ like Canelo Alvarez stays silent while the whole boxing world buzzes, it's not ignorance, it's focus. It's the look of someone paying close attention, maybe even replaying that clip a few times. Not out of fear, but out of respect. Because what Manny Pacquiao showed wasn't flash, it was rhythm. Real rhythm. The kind that only comes from decades of dedication, not just repetition. Canelo, a master of precision and control, saw something different in that 30-second video. Freedom, flow, raw power. And maybe it lit something inside him, a reminder of how real boxing used to be. No filters. No fame. Just movement, grit, and effort. Maybe Canelo didn't respond because there was nothing to say. Maybe he just trained harder the next day. That kind of mutual respect doesn't need headlines or call-outs. Manny didn't post the clip to start anything. It was the message. To Canelo. To the sport. To everyone watching. Greatness doesn't retire. It trains. It stays sharp. And without saying a word, Canelo might have spoken louder than anyone else.
Insane 10-punch combo.
Yep. Goes to the flurry again. Yep. Goes to the
That's what had everyone talking. It wasn't about what Canelo said, but what he didn't. The man who's usually front and center in boxing, the one calling the shots, suddenly wasn't leading the moment. And it wasn't because he slipped up or lost a fight. It was because a legend from a different era reminded the world what real hunger looks like. Not the kind tied to belts, contracts, or spotlight, but the kind fueled by pure grit. Just a gym, a coach, and an unshakable will. When that kind of spirit hits the internet, it doesn't just go viral, it strikes a nerve. No matter how dominant Canelo has been, when Manny Pacquiao drops a clip like that, even the sport's biggest names pause. Fans started asking real questions. Can Canelo still move like that at 46? Would he even want to? Maybe Canelo's silence wasn't pride. Maybe it was reflection. Because when someone with nothing left to prove is still grinding like they're chasing a dream, it makes you look inward. This wasn't about beef. It was about drive. And while Canelo didn't say a word, his silence spoke volumes. When true greatness appears, you don't react with words. You watch. You feel it. Even legends know when another legend steps into the light. In a strange way, that's what made it all hit even harder. There was no official connection between Pacquiao and Canelo, no press release, no joint training session, not even a casual gym selfie. Just pure intensity, raw footage, and fans online doing what they do best, connecting the dots. Because moments like this don't need a blueprint, they build their own tension. Pacquiao didn't have to train with Canelo or drop names. He just had to show what real work looks like. And with that simple, silent 30-second clip, he made the entire boxing world take a closer look at its current champions. This wasn't about comparing resumes, it was about who's still in the trenches, acting like every day in the gym still matters. When a 46-year-old can shake the sport with half a minute of footage, it's not nostalgia, it's a wake-up call. Whether he liked it or not, Canelo found himself pulled into that spotlight. In a boxing era where talk often outweighs action, Pacquiao flipped the script with effort, rhythm, and focused. He didn't have to speak, but somehow he called out every top dog in the game to step up. And as fans watched, they weren't refreshing Canelo's page for a response, they were sitting in the silence, wondering what was going through his mind. Maybe all Canelo thought was, wow. Maybe he didn't think anything at all. But the fact people are still wondering means Pacquiao's message landed exactly where it needed to. Boxing doesn't need hype when hard work does the talking. And that's exactly what happened. Manny Pacquiao didn't look like a retired fighter shaking off the rust. He didn't look like a legend staying active for nostalgia's sake. He looked like a problem. Like time hadn't caught him, and he was still moving at full speed. That hit deep, not just with fans, but with fighters, too. Canelo Alvarez has long been the standard, the one to beat. But in that moment, someone older, smaller, and supposedly finished reminded everyone what that standard used to look like. The kind built in quiet gyms, far from cameras and headlines. And that's not easy to ignore, even for a champ. Maybe Canelo's silence wasn't him dodging the moment. Maybe it was respect. Or maybe it was a rare moment of reflection. Because when you see someone grinding that hard, not for clicks, not for glory, just for the love, it makes you rethink what really matters. The belts, the money, the fame, none of it means much if the fire's gone. But that's what Manny brought back. And that's why, even without saying his name, the spotlight shifted to Canelo. Because when a 46-year-old legend trains like that, it makes everyone else ask, where am I? Manny didn't train with Canelo. But somehow, he still got inside his head.